This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show. And this is your host, Greg Gilbert, a.k.a. the Python Hyena. And folks, you know, last year I had the pleasure of interviewing the granddaughter of Alfred Hitchcock, and that was quite a thing, you know, and he's one of my all-time favorite filmmakers. Well, you know what, folks? I have the grandson of Curly from the Three Stooges on the phone. Yes, we have Curly G, Brad Server, Curly's grandson. How do you do, Brad?
Hi, Greg. How are you? Oh, this is amazing. I'm so glad that someone finally called. I've been waiting for 40 years. To be Curly's grandson, it's an honor. Could you imagine, Greg? Just imagine if that's how I spoke, and that's what your fans were going to listen to for an hour. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for having me on your show.
You just went from old to young just like that. You're amazing.
I got it in my blood. I'm made for this kind of stuff. You're going to get all kinds of ups and downs with me.
You know what? That means you could probably date Betty White, and you could date Betty White and Emma Stone both at the same time.
I think I could do them both justice. But on a serious note, and that's going to be very difficult, I do want to thank you for having me on your show, and thank your listeners for putting up with me, and thank the fans around the world, all the Stooge fans and Curly fans, and obviously thank the amazing Mr. Steve Joyner, who reached out and hooked me up with you so I could be on your show.
Yeah, I want to express thanks to Steve Joyner as well. I just come to be associated with him. Well, he was on my Facebook page good part of last year. I've been kind of watching his posts and whatnot, you know, and trying to figure him out. And finally, you know, this year I made him my first guest and had a wonderful chat with him, and it was a lot of fun. So and he has been gracious enough to hook me up with some interviews, and including yourself. So, and I was like, wow, the grandson of Curly from the Three Stooges, and my knowledge of the Three Stooges is limited at best, but I think it's interesting interviewing somebody who has got that kind of legacy. And I know that Steve has told me that you have quite the backstory to share and how you come to find out and whatnot. I would love for you to share that story with us.
Well, sure. I would love to. Probably the best place to start is kind of a timeline, so the listeners, you know, a lot would ask, or what was it like growing up with Curly as your granddad, and did he smack you around? Did he do all those fun stuff? And unfortunately, Curly died at a young age at 49 in 1952, and I was born in 1965. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but the Howard bloodline is definitely running through my veins, and I have an older sister and an older brother, and we're just nuts. I mean, we've lived a wonderful life, and you know, from a young age, just loving to do musicals for relatives that came over, and loving to just do fun and crazy stuff. It was apparent that we had something special, and we were just pretty much like every other kid. I mean, we came home every day after school, just like most kids, to rush home and watch the Stooges. And obviously Curly was my favorite, like a lot of people. Shemp and Mo were second best for me. I appreciated Larry, but I really, Shemp and Curly were really entertaining for me. But coming home every day after school for years and years and watching them with my friends, I had no idea that he was even my grandfather at that point. I believe I was 8 years old, 7 years old, and still came home just like everyone else and was a fan, and they were my heroes. So it was kind of an interesting I guess day or early evening when I did find out, and it basically went down where my brother was taken to his first Broadway show by my grandmother Elaine, who was married to Curly, and she took him to see Laurel Ruth, and my brother left the show when they were driving home and told my grandma, "I want to be an actor." That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I love musicals. This is what I want to do. And he was 4 or 5 years older than me. He was 13, and now he knew what his mission was. And then casually my grandmother said, "Oh, well, your real grandfather was an actor," and he was an actor. Well, who was he? She's all, "Oh, he was Curly from the Three Stooges." And then my brother just like sunk in his seat, and I don't think he said a word on the whole way home until he ran up to the upstairs where I was at and told me, and we were just like in shock. I mean, how do you go from one day watching your heroes and watching with your friends like everyone else, come to find out that's your family?
Yeah.
It was an amazing little detail that was left out, and the story behind the story, why we weren't told. That's a story in itself, and it's all part of kind of the evolution of where I am today. Was from the beginning not being told, and then having to keep it kind of a secret for most of my childhood and even as a young adult, to now I tell everybody. I mean, I'm talking to the beautiful fans in Canada right now, and I'm talking with you, and now everyone's going to know. So that's kind of how it started, believe it or not.
You mentioned that you liked musicals. Just out of curiosity, what's your favorite musical?
West Side Story is probably my favorite musical.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Roger and Hammerstein shows most of those musicals, and really that time frame in the late '60s and '70s. That really was the era of film. That really was a special time, and I've loved musicals and been endeared by that type of production ever since. And my brother is, since that day, he did become an actor. He does a lot of musicals. He's done Broadway. He was Oscar in 42nd Street that toured the U.S. But what his real craft is and what he does on a daily basis is he's a musical director, which there again, that's phenomenal. I didn't even know what a musical director did until he explained it to me, and it's pretty amazing. He's very, very talented, and it really comes down to what we were given, and it's the gift of the Howard bloodline. And I'm just I'm at awe every day that I wake up just to say that I'm related to Curly, and it's an honor.
You know what?
Back to your musical question.
Well, you know what? We just lost Debbie Reynolds, and she was in what I consider the greatest musical ever made, Singing in the Rain.
Yes.
Fantastic movie. And we just lost her, and I'm going to tell you, I do like musicals, and I like musicals of all sorts, especially even some of the more modern ones that have been coming out. Like, I even enjoyed Rock of Ages because it just all the music in it. I remember growing up. Like you mentioned, you was born in '65. Well, I was born in '72, so I can remember all this stuff growing up, and it just brings you back.
Oh, absolutely. And the music of the '80s is, I mean, that's right in my wheelhouse. I mean, that is some of the best music, and that Rock of Ages was the soundtrack in that is amazing. I mean, just songs that bring you back, and really, not to judge new artists, because there's a lot of amazing new artists, but really, looking back at the TV shows of the baby boomers and the musicals and the music that we had, we really were the luckiest of them all, because it's really hard to find that quality of entertainment and of musical rhythms and breaks and all the stuff that was in that music today. At least I find it hard. I try to navigate through Spotify and try to find artists that resemble that type of just rock, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin. I mean, those are the bands that I dig more than anything. So we were very lucky. It was a much easier time, and it was a great time.
It's interesting because 1 year ago today, I interviewed the beautiful and gorgeous Betsy Russell, and I was just I may have noted that on Facebook for the 1 year anniversary of it, and I just kind of was going on YouTube, and I was just looking at one of the films she did, Avenging Angel, which I'd never seen. It's funny because within the first 10 minutes, the whole song of Tell Me Why by Bronski Beat plays. And it's kind of funny. I got lost in the song. It's kind of interesting how music kind of sets a mood and takes your mind someplace way back.
Absolutely. Yeah, and for the listeners, or the younger listeners, that it's hard to go find one particular musical or some of the things that we're talking about. That's Entertainment, and I'm sure you've seen That's Entertainment before. Basically recaps. There was 2 of them, I believe.
Yeah.
That recaps all of the musicals, from the early days all the way through, and it really is it's a great piece of work for anyone that wants to go back and see some of the production value and the choreographs and the music, and all of it is just wonderful. And it would be great. And like you said, Rock of Ages, even to a degree, High School Musical really brought, for the younger generation, brought them music into the film, and I think they did a great job with it, and I enjoyed it. But there's more. You see more of it. I mean, there's a Academy Award nomination for a musical this year that's probably going to win most of the awards, and each year there seems to be those type of films with music really touch people. Dreamgirls and some of the others are just amazing. Hairspray. Those musicals became great movies, and they really touch people. So I certainly promote it. Music is something not only do I like to listen to, I also, when I get a chance, I like to jam and play my drums with whoever I can get to swing by that plays guitar or bass. So any of your listeners out there that want to jam with Curly G, just later on we'll let you know how you get a hold of me, and let's play some rock and roll.
Yeah. And there are some great musicals out there. Like I said, Steve Joyner had hooked me up with Murphy Dunn. He was in the Blues Brothers. I mean, Look at how that used music. And Alan Parker has directed a lot of musicals like Fame and Pink Floyd The Wall and Bugsy Malone, all kinds of different musicals, and they're all different. They're all they all got a different tone, different theme, and stuff like that. I find to be a lot of fun.
I agree. I definitely agree with you.
But I gotta ask though, so you find out that you're Curly's grandson. Now, how long do you keep that to yourself from your peers, or how long do you announce that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a hard thing to announce. First of all, I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. I mean, 4th grade. Do you really think that you're going to go to school the next day and say, "Oh, by the way, I found out that Curly's my grandfather"? I mean, it was so unbelievable that so we. For a couple reasons, we didn't talk about it, and I guess we can get into that part too. why we weren't told was simply because my grandmother had remarried after Curly, and I believe my mom was 14 or 15 when Curly died. So when my grandmother remarried, this new man, who his name was Moses, and we called him Mo, another Mo in the picture.
Yeah.
He really became her everyday father, because she was young, and that's who she recalls really mostly raising her. So as we, came into the picture, and my brother and my sister were born, and I was born, and as we were growing up, we were basically told out of respect not to talk about Curly, because if you imagine, although my living grandfather was an amazing man and an accomplished jeweler, and it was just a phenomenal, loving guy, he wasn't Curly of the Three Stooges, nor was he ever going to be. And I think that out of respect, and so that he wouldn't, no feelings would be hurt, she chose to say not to talk about it. So we were always trained not to talk about it. Even afterwards, this had nothing to do with friends. Even this is just in our household, and that became the state of play for a long time. So not only was I not supposed to talk about it at home, then at school, not only is it almost unbelievable, but I was almost trained not to talk about it in public. Now I did, of course, tell like my best friend, and I said, keep this, I don't want to spread this around, and and to a degree, it's not like, it's not the most amazing thing in the world, but to me and to kids and stuff, it kind of was. So I just I kept it on the low. People knew though, and this is part of the thing about me. Whether I told anybody that I was Curly's grandson, whether I was a young kid or a young adult or a 50-year-old man I am now, people know that there's something, genuine. There's something extremely comical, and there's and within me, it's all about shock factor. I mean, I love getting a reaction from people, and I always have. So instead of telling people I was Curly's grandson, I would think of doing the craziest stuff. I mean, I was an out-of-control child with an imagination that was just out there. So I was doing all kinds of stunts and making all kinds of, I certainly didn't have to say I was Curly's grandson to get all the attention. I was making the attention come to me. I was drawing it because that was my way, I think, of expressing, this. I have Curly's blood. This is who I am. So yeah, it wasn't something that I touted off a lot as a youngster. I think my actions spoke louder than my words, and that kind of carried me through. Even as I got older, there was litigation going on with Stooge stuff. So even as I went into high school, it was like I was still being told, don't talk about it. Don't bring attention to yourself, about Curly, because, maybe, this person can get in trouble, maybe this, maybe that. And there again, it really has been restraint for most of my life. So there again, I just did it in my own way. I was the class clown. I was the guy in college that wanted to be the biggest splash at the parties, and be the, I did the darndest. I was like the court jester. Bring Brad. Brad will do this. Brad will do that. And so there again, it's when the book is written, and there will be a book at some point, because my life has just been something that I think should be shared with everybody. It's interesting, but if I was to give it a title now, I think I would call it Forbidden Rights, because there's a lot of things that I wasn't able to say and do, but in the last 10 years, I've broken through all of that, and now the world is my stage, and I'm on your stage right now.
Yeah.
I better let you talk before you hang up on me.
Oh, I'm not going to hang up on you. People want to hear you over me, you know, and I'm
Oh,
fascinated by
really?
this.
You're
Yeah.
older than me. I didn't even realize that.
No, nope. I'm
You
taking
deserve respect, Greg.
it. What's that?
You deserve respect. You're my elder. Oh no, I am.
Actually, you're my elder.
You know what? I like interviewing with people that are older than me. I have to go, Greg. I'm just kidding.
Well.
So yes, it's interesting. Very interesting.
So when did you go public about it?
God, I feel like we're talking about me coming out of the closet. But that's a totally different story in a different book. But well, I started to go. I think it was about 10 years ago. I started going to. There was annual Three Stooges fan club meetings that were happening in Philadelphia, and I started. Me and my brother and my mother went, and I started to engage with the fans, and that's really what kind of set it off. It was really, you know, here I was thinking how lucky I am to be able to go to this event, and you know, people are lining up to get autographs and to meet me and thanking me, and I'm like, I mean, this is the least I could do is to come out and see the fans, and not just fans, just wonderful people. I've developed such great relationships and friends from going to the fan club meetings, and you know, they're special people, and they're diehard fans that just love the Stooges, you know, forever. It's not something that you know, I don't think Three Stooges fans, you don't just like them for a little while, you get tired of it, and then you come back to it. I mean, it's one of those things, you love them and you always love them. And sometimes you forget how much you love them until you put them on again. And then you just realize how timeless and epic they are. And so going to the fan club meetings, I just realized that, wow, well, this is a way of you know, I'm in the spotlight a little bit because I know I like that. I'm able to bring joy to them by, you know, signing autographs or, you know, just being myself and hanging out. And I really think that was kind of the beginning of really wanting to, you know, make an effort to give back to the Three Stooges community and the fans. But really, what else can I do? Because by trade for the last 32 years, I'm an inside salesperson. I sell and design cable systems, but I'm not your typical salesperson. I kibitz, I make people laugh, and they buy from me. I'm just the same person you're talking to now, and they'd rather buy from me because it's funner, and funner is not even a word. So I think that was it. I mean, year after year, going to the Stooge conventions, seeing friends and fans and other family members. I mean, just so the listeners know, my mom is doing great. She's still gorgeous, and she's around. And you've got Mo's children and grandchildren, and you got Shemps. I mean, there's a whole variety of family members. Although we weren't close because of the, you know, if you go back to the beginning of the story where we weren't able to talk about it, well, obviously if we weren't hanging out with, you know, Shemp's family and Mo's family and all that and not talking about it, that was kind of part of the forbidden reasons too, which I don't even really know to this day. I really haven't asked a ton of questions, but there's great family, Stooge family, that goes to these events, great fans. And the people that run these events just know so much about the Stooges, and it's just so it just kind of was the launching pad to, and then with social media, I mean, Facebook and engaging with the fans and seeing the constant posts and the love that they have, that really is where a lot of my efforts are headed to. It's what can I do, you know, making a fool of myself and being the crazy man and all that. That's kind of has to be behind me, but now I'd like to, you know, start doing I do if I do a video or do something funny, they just love it, and the compliments that they say and the memories that they share about the Stooges and about Curly is so touching that it drives me to want to engage more. So I'm hoping to do. You're going to see some video content on my Facebook page under Curly G. I've done a little stuff, but I got something really special that I think I shared with you. It's about pies that we can talk about later, but it's really about having fun and bringing some special stuff back to the fans, and that's really where it came from. Is really the fan base and the 2012 Stooge movie that came out. I mean, that was something that I never thought was going to happen in my lifetime, and that brought the Stooges to a current level. And then I'm on at the premiere in in Hollywood, the Grauman's Chinese Theater, on the red carpet. So I knew that expressing who I am and giving back to the fans and all that was something that needed to happen, and it was meant for a reason. And me being on the red carpet and that whole experience, I loved it. So I'm ready. If there's any listeners out there that have a camera and want to make movies, I might not be the best actor or be the funniest guy, but I don't really have to be. I just have to be me.
What did you think of the Farrelly Brothers movie of the Stooges?
I actually enjoyed it. I'll be honest. I mean, it's kind of taboo. You don't make these type of movies when a nucleus of actors is so incredible as the Stooges were. It's almost as though you don't want to touch it because it's almost impossible to replicate. But the Farrelly Brothers weren't just a year before they decided they want to do this, so they just wrote a script. I mean, these are true Stooge fans. Mike Cerrone and Peter and Bobby, they wrote this script. They wrote this it took them 10 years of studying and loving the Stooges to put. If you really look at some of the things they did in the movie, it was very Stooge-like. Now, people get very judgmental and say, Will Sasso was too tall and he wasn't funny, and to be honest, it's nearly impossible, and no one will be or were they trying to be the Three Stooges. But in all fairness, the three of them did a great job in meshing and creating. If you were to close your eyes and never saw anything Stooges and saw that, you would know that they're being the Three Stooges. They're acting like the Three Stooges, even if it wasn't called the Three Stooges. So I think that in its own, in the storyline, bringing today's world inside some of the slapstick, exposing it to a younger generation, so kids and younger adults can see what kind of slapstick is about and what they did. I think it's a testament to how great the Stooges are, and I think I'm a fan of it. I mean, and I think that the boys upstairs looking down some 55, 60 years later, seeing a movie being made after them, is nothing but it's nothing but more than an honor. So I think it was well done. I think the actors, Will, Sean, Chris, I think they did a great job, and they're going to be doing another one. It's going to be worked on, I believe, in the spring. So there should be some more antics coming up, and there's also a Little Three Stooges movie that's going to be filmed in the spring, and rumor has it that I'm going to be in that film on some level, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Wow. Yeah.
God, do I talk like a bag of wind? I just don't shut up.
I think it's great. Like
I'm just babbling. We might have to do a 3-hour segment. You might have to break it up in like half an hour chunks so people don't jump out the window.
Oh no, you're doing great.
Wall Street with me.
If I was the one going off, then there'd be a problem. Trust me, you're doing great.
Monologue. beginning. I almost hung myself in my room with your monologue. I'm just kidding.
No, but you know what? I found the Three Stooges movie was a lot more faithful to the Stooges and say, I mean, look at the disaster that the Dukes of Hazzard movie was. I mean, I grew up with the Dukes of Hazzard, and I thought that movie, not only did I hate it, but I guess members of the cast from the TV show hated it as well. So,
right. And the Little Rascals wasn't that much better.
And even Larry Wilcox, Steve hooked me up, interview him last Friday, and I did not know that there was going to be a movie version of Chips coming out, and I looked up the trailer. I looked up the trailer after Larry had mentioned it, and he is totally against what they've done with this new movie. They just turned it into dirty humor.
That's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I can imagine too when you know, it's one thing to have left this earth and then they do a movie, you know, about your work, but when you're so vibrant, and Larry is, and you know, he put so much soul and effort and made his character, and then you have them remake it, and it's not you know, good or blessed or enchanted by that person. I could see where that could be a little alarming and a little distasteful and not very fun.
Now, I gotta say, one thing we got in common, my favorite slapjack stick joke, and personally, I wish I could see more of this in movies. I love the old pie in the face joke. And I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite movies that consisted of this was a film that came out the year you was born by Blake Edwards called The Great Race. And it was so funny seeing Natalie Wood, who is as elegant as she is, getting plastered from head to toe.
Right. Yeah, I thought that's a good movie. I've seen that movie.
And you know what? I'm going to say this, and I don't say this to be sexist, but that pie fight would not have worked had Natalie Wood not been in it, because she is a total different class, and of course she's a different sex than the other actors that were in it.
Right, of course.
But no, I do want to. I've often said I'd never marry a woman who couldn't take a pie in the face, because you can tell a lot about a person who can do that. And you're married. I was wondering, does your wife share that as well?
Well, she actually put a pie in my face, but there again, if we're going to talk about pies. And I did mention that there was going to be a video coming out soon. We just celebrated Curly's, what would have been Curly's 113th birthday on October 22nd, I believe it was.
That's a lot of candles.
Yeah, it was a lot of candles, but it was also a lot of pies, because this was the first year that I, you know, as the birthday was approaching, I was like, well, what can I do in honor of my grandfather, and what can I do fun for the fans on his birthday? So I spent the entire day from, I think, 9 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night going through Hollywood, different places, different people. Some places were set up by my wonderful friends Chris and Andy, who's they're known as Schwartzy and Pagana. And if any of the listeners looks up Schwartzy and Pagana on YouTube or Facebook, extremely funny guys. They have a nice 50s flair and slapstick flair to them. They were with me, and I proceeded to spend the day getting 113 pies put in my face. And it was, from doing no pies to 113, I think it was quite the feat. And when you watch it, it's kind of amazing that I didn't have a broken nose, and I, who am I to complain? Just think of how many pies, Gramps and the boys took over the years, and all the cast members. So it was an honor, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, pies are, I think, worldwide or globally just fun. It's funny. A pie in the face is just something you laugh at. So I'm hoping that your listeners will be able to follow it when it comes out. And as far as the wife, she was a little upset that she wasn't part of the 113 pies, because I went out and did that. I didn't start at the in the morning where she said, "Good morning, honey. Here's your coffee," and put a pie in my face. I thought that would have been a nice touch, but it didn't work out that way. So after the video was shot, she was actually a little upset that she didn't get to do a pie. But she did choose a time on her own to do it. To my surprise, I was watering in the backyard, and I had just gotten done, and my friend and my daughter were in the house, and my friend Chris and Andy had delivered their annual Thanksgiving Day pies, which they do every Thanksgiving. They spend the whole day delivering pies. Well, instead of eating this gorgeous chocolate cream pie, my wife told my best friend, "I'm going to put this pie in Brad's face." And he's like, "No, you're not. You're not going to do that. You don't got the balls to do that." Well, sure enough, as I put the hose down, reeled it up, and went to open the sliding glass door, she came flying out and put that 114th pie in my face. And that was probably the only one I got mad at. The other ones I didn't get mad at because I was expecting them. But she certainly enjoyed it, and she does have a sense of humor. I mean, I have a gorgeous, funny, humorous wife. I mean, obviously, to marry me, you've got to kind of roll with the punches. So she knew what she was getting in for, and even from our first date. And I'm just in case anyone from Match.com is dating anyone, I'm actually a success story from Match.com where I met my wife almost 10 years ago. This year will be 10 years. So our first date was hilarious, and it's been a fun roller coaster ever since. But she's a funny gal. She, at some point, just like the listeners are like, "Is this guy ever going to shut up?" I need Greg to say something.
I'll just listen to your.
Yeah. Hi.
I am going to share something with you, though, and I got to bring this up to you. Remember when the Ice Bucket Challenge happened a few years ago?
Sure do.
Okay. After that happened, and I thought that was great. People were all coming together to help this cause, and it's unfortunate because I have somebody close to me that's got ALS. So, but anyway, after Robin Williams left us, another one of those charity challenges came up called the Doubtfire Face Challenge, and it involved taking a pie in the face and nominating 3 people for suicide and depression awareness. And I remember, at the time, I had wanted to see if I could get the industry involved. And I remember a couple of people I wanted to nominate were two, in my opinion, two of the funniest women working today, Emma Stone and Anna Kendrick. I think they're both hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I remember, I come from a Christian household. And I remember there was this journalist from L.A. who was following me on Twitter. And I remember... I don't care for their views. They rate movies based on Christian content, so they end up recommending a lot of junk like Fireproof. But yeah, they got a very, very biased vertical view, and right now they've kind of blocked me from a lot of stuff because I've countered them on a lot of their bullshit, so to speak. But nonetheless, this female journalist who represents them was following me on Twitter, and she asked the question during the Ice Bucket Challenge. She didn't take part in that, but she asked what the next big challenge was going to be. So I brought up the Doubtfire Face Challenge, and I said, would you be up to doing this? And she told me I'd have to nominate her first. So I was like, okay. And she had interviewed a lot of the people I wanted to nominate, like Emma Stone, Anna Kendrick, and people like that I thought was funny. And I personally like funny women. Yeah. And Emma Stone I've been a fan of since her first movie, which was Superbad. So to see her possibly getting her second Oscar nomination to me is a real exciting thing. But anyway, I did this video. I took a pie in the face and I nominated some industry folks, and I sent the video to her through I think through Twitter, and her response was, "Great video, but I'm not taking a pie in the face, but I hope this catches on though." And what a slap in the face, especially from a Christian organization. And it's sad because they interviewed Angelina Jolie the week after, and there was a group that had gotten together and nominated Angelina Jolie and Ellen DeGeneres. And I'm like, these people could have helped with this cause. Instead, yeah, there was a riot in Baltimore. And this is what these people are like. There was a riot in Baltimore, and they took the time to blame it on that movie, The Purge, and said if you donate money to them, this won't happen, as if they can keep that from happening. So they're using the Bible for profit, which I find offensive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so what
just real quick, I'm a Jew for Jesus, so you don't have to worry about me being biased or unbiased.
Well, you know what? I still read my Bible. I love the Passion of the Christ, but I mean, I also like R-rated movies as well. You know, I mean, we're talking comedies. I loved Animal House, and you can't get too much raunchier than that. But I'm going to tell you, after I started doing these interviews in 2015, it kind of dawned on me. I was starting to make a connection with some of my interviewees, so I got together with somebody else here at the station, and I told them what I wanted to do. And I did a video where I took another pie in the face, and I threw nominations out to people I interviewed, and especially some of the Canadian people I interviewed, but I threw the nomination out. And I got some responses. Lisa Langlois from the Canadian thriller class of 1984. She responded, and what an honor. And Nancy McLaughlin from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, did a wonderful video where she used props from the movie. It's funny, this Christian group refused to do it, but yet these slasher film people, they're more than willing to do it. And I've got a Miss USA, a former Miss USA, who is I'm in touch with to do this. And I've got another 2 or 3 actors and actresses I've interviewed who are also willing to do this. And I'm not suicidal, but I've been struck with depression before. And I'm going to tell you, that can just wreck your insides. It just shuts everything down. And I think this is a worthy cause. And
yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And look, I don't want you to be depressed. I mean, you said 3 pies, right? And I've already taken 113.
No. What you do is you take a pie in the.
I do 300 of them, and that way I'll cover some of these people that don't want to take pies in the face because they're too much. They're too pussy-footed about it.
Well, here's what I was thinking. If you did a video for Doubtfire Face, you know people in the industry, don't you?
Well, not the industry that you're talking about. When you mentioned X-rated movies, I'm just kidding.
No.
No, I do. I wouldn't. Steve Joyner obviously does, but I know some. I mean, Will Sasso is a Canadian. Where can we get Will Sasso to do it? Let's get some Canadian people to do it as well, right?
Get Canadians, get Americans, whoever.
Make it worldwide.
That's what we're aiming for. Well, when Nancy McLaughlin
of course I'll do that.
Well, Nancy McLaughlin was talking to me about it from Jason Lives. She was she'd had a trip to London, and she said it was amazing we were talking about this because she said this was on the news over there.
Oh.
So I wanted to get the industry involved, and I thought, well, I'll try with the people that I've interviewed, and maybe eventually it'll reach to an Emma Stone or an Anna Kendrick or the big name celebs. Eventually, these things do spread.
Or Curly D.
or Curly G.
I said I wasn't going to take another pie after the wife's 114th, but for Greg and for that cause and for you, I will take 3 pies and I will do a video.
And throw 3 nominations out, and if you know,
well, don't make it difficult. Don't make it too complicated for me. Remember, I got Howard blood. I'm not the smartest tool in the tool shed. Well, you can send me an instruction manual and an email with the instructions, and I'll follow them like a script.
Oh, there you go. Well, that'll work. But it's a worthy cause, and I thought, somebody like you who, personally, I think they should replace sex scenes with pie scenes. Personally, I think I would much rather see that stuff in movies.
All right, Greg, you're starting to worry me a little bit about this pie thing. Now, do I do the 3 pies clothes? Am I supposed to keep my clothes on, or is there a certain wardrobe you're supposed to wear?
I always tell people don't have to ruin good clothes, but
well, I believe, and maybe this is just out of experience with the event that I did. If you look up, you Google like YouTube getting a pie in the face, you'll actually see people go like they're putting on rain gear, and so they don't get a little speck of pie on them. I mean, come on, especially when you're doing it for a cause. I'd say get as much pie on you as possible and live the moment and reflect on what you're doing it for.
Yep.
And the pain and the suffrage that people are going through. That's the least you could do. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I did with mine too.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. I might go full Monty with it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but no, what I was mentioning.
Your listeners don't have to see it.
Yeah, what I was mentioning before, I hope I did give you the wrong idea when I said I prefer more sex or pie scenes and sex scenes. What I mean, what I meant was you don't see enough of the old slapstick humor. Okay, I didn't want people to get too weirded out by me,
Yeah, what kind of radio station is this?
The kind that gets.
And you know what? I do have to say that I do love Canada, and I do love the Canadian people, and my favorite sport is hockey.
Oh, there you go.
I did play a little hockey, so I'm not just one of those, baseball guys from California.
Well, just think, slapstick or Slapshot's going to be 40 years old this year.
I saw that. That was a fun movie.
Well, I tried to get the Hanson brothers on here, and I could not seem to get all 3 of them on here at once. So I don't know. I'll see if I can get one of them on there this year. There's got to be somebody who wants to talk about Slapshot. That was a pretty great movie. What's that?
And and speaking of your cause, I do want the listeners. I want you to know, because it's kind of a new adventure for me. I'm going to be starting a nonprofit children's charity with a dear friend of mine, and we're just starting it up. So we're going to be, going to children's hospitals, and not only for the children, but the parents that are there waiting, and the caregivers, not the doctors that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the people that are, putting in the 10 hours a day taking care of the kids, and for the children themselves, bringing some of the old movies and bringing the Stooges bedside, and possibly even theater scenes where they can see, get away for a moment from the pain and the suffering. And the children with diseases and the children that are sick, those are our heroes. Those are our true heroes, and they're warriors. What they go through, and they need a break, and the parents need a break, and the caregivers. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to put something together this year, and bring the Stooges and the Bowery Boys and the Little Rascals and Gilligan's Island, whatever it is. Just bring some fun and laughter to the children that need it most. So I'm looking forward to that, just wanted you to know that that's where my heart is at as well.
Oh, those are great causes, and perfect for Stooges. You was mentioning they're making another Three Stooges movie. Are the Farrelly brothers doing that?
No, at least at this point, no. They're not. They didn't write it, and they're not directing it. That's what I'm hearing. You know, there again, it's Hollywood, so nothing's. I've learned this from a little bit of Hollywood that I've seen and dealt with, that nothing is on time, nothing is what it's planned out to be, and everything changes. So, but to my knowledge, they're not doing it. But it should be It should be interesting. It's going to be a little different from what I hear. The little Three Stooges, that, if you remember in the 2012 version, they were small children, right? That were left in an orphanage, and then they they're, I don't know, 12 years old or 11 years old, and then all of a sudden they're older. Well, this new little Three Stooges movie takes place when they're 12 years old, and it's, I don't know if it's while they're just 12 and 13. I think it just takes place in that small time frame when they're pre-teens.
Okay.
And the adventures of what happens. So that's supposed to be fun, from what I hear. I'm looking forward to that.
Do you know who they're going to have play the parts?
No, I don't. I mean, obviously they couldn't use the original kids because they had all grown up, and they're too old for it. But I know that it's not an easy task. It could even be. It's more difficult than choosing adults probably to play the roles. If you think about it, I mean, they really have to. They have to gel. They have to have mechanics, and they obviously have to do the bit. I'm assuming there's going to be slapping and poking and gnawing and all that kind of stuff. So I know that they did a cast call. I believe they picked them. I think. Well, maybe they're still casting it. I'm not sure, because I believe they start filming in the spring, so it's in a couple months. So. But that should be interesting. And then I think after that is when they start the next one with the big boys, to my knowledge.
What did you think about the fact they cast Sofia Vergara in the Farrelly Brothers one?
Considering she's gorgeous, I loved it.
She does have a funny voice.
Woman. Yes. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed that part of it. But I can't get enough of her. She's a very, very attractive woman, and she's sweet and she's unique. So I would hope she's in if I'm gonna be in the Little Three Stooges, that would be great if she was like a cameo, or she's there. I'd love to meet her.
Yeah.
I'd even give her a kiss from you.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, hello. I mean, I'm not dead. I might be married, but I'm not dead. And my wife, my wife sees hot guys on TV, and she'll say like, "Oh, look at that guy," and I'm like, "Oh my God, will you stop?" And then, but of course, I like to be able to say my little comments. It's a two-way street or one way. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
we're funny people. Us humans are funny people.
Just you mentioned musicals earlier. What are some of your favorite comedies?
Comedies. Well, God, older, The Odd Couple in the old days.
Doesn't matter.
That kind of stuff. That kind of humor. I enjoyed The Odd Couple a lot.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
Newer, the Farrelly Brothers. Some of that humor I like. I like Tommy Boy, even though it's like some people think it's the most retarded movie in the world. Something about Chris is funny. I mean, there's just funny stuff. There's a lot of them. Put me on that spot. There's probably 500 I could name, but not now. I'm a little shy, as you can tell. So I don't know if I should. I don't think the listeners want to hear all my top 500.
There you
go. I enjoy comedies. I certainly enjoy a good laugh. I like musicals as much, though. I really do. So musical comedy is probably right in my wheelhouse.
Well, I'm thinking, they should do a movie about your experience, because you got kind of a story there on your own. And if they was to do that, who would you have play you?
Me. Come on, Greg. I'm still a young man. I can play me. I'm gonna be me. Who else is gonna be me? Curly G. I hope so. There is going to be a movie. And we didn't talk about me dressing up like a woman.
Huh?
We talked about X-rated. We talked about your pie fetish, but we didn't talk about my alter ego. She comes out once a year, and she comes out on Halloween, so the listeners don't have to get worried. I don't dress up all the time as a woman, but I do have a alter ego that comes out.
Called Divine? Oh.
Her name is Volva Horovitz. And she's just a handful. She's a lot of fun. And I'm hoping that I have a storyline written about her and her story, and I'm hoping that that's going to be a movie. If I can find someone that wants to take a chance on it. But I'm all for doing a movie about me, doing a movie about Volva. I'm ready. I just want to do videos.
You could just remake Glenn or Glenda.
Yeah. Yeah, I sure could.
There you go.
So video-wise, can I put a little spot out for how your listeners and the fans can get a hold of me?
Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, you have a web page, do you not?
I do have a web page, thegrandstooges.com.
Okay.
Just how it sounds, thegrandstooges.com. That website has bios, pictures from fan club meetings. It's got pictures from the 2012 premiere. It's got friends and family. It's got rare photos. You go through all the photo buttons. There's some videos. There's going to be more. It was just redone not too long ago, where we gave it a new facelift, and it needs some attention, some new stuff like the pie video and all that stuff will be on it.
Okay.
So fans can go to the website. You can leave messages there, but obviously Facebook, and it's an easy way to find me. I'm Curly's grandson, so that's easy.
Yeah.
So look up Curly's grandson. I have a fan page called Curly G. So once you friend me on Facebook, then I'll invite you to come to Curly G. On Twitter, I think I'm Curly's grandson. I mean, I make it pretty easy. Just look up Curly's grandson or Curly G, and you'll find me.
Yeah, I was quite honored there the other night. I got a message that says Curly's grandson wants to be friends on Facebook, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be his friend.
Yeah, buddy.
We can do that.
The pleasure's mine. See, I didn't wait for you. I'm not one of those, I'm Curly's grandson, so, people have to ask me to be their friend. I see people, and I ask them to be my friends. We're just people, right? We're just people.
Yeah, there we go.
Kindness and love. And the one thing that I have to say, and I say it when I close almost everything, and when I write something, is the one thing that we all need to do, obviously, is to be kind to each other and to love each other. But we need to keep the laughter alive.
Absolutely.
We need more laughter in this world.
I agree.
So that's what I want. That's what I want the world to do, is laugh, and not laugh at people, laugh with each other, and just be happy that you're alive. I set my goal very, very, the bar very low as far as, am I having a good day? When I wake up, my eyes open, I smile, and I'm having a great day. And I go at life like that every single day, and it keeps me young. It keeps me feeling good, and hopefully it lasts another 30 years. Because I don't want to get old. I don't want to sound like I did when I answered the phone. Hello, this is Curly G. Can you imagine? Hey, that's how I started the show.
I'm just curious, how involved are your brother and sister in the whole Stooges thing?
Did you just hear crickets? Because that's how much. No, I'm just kidding. Well, my sister, not as much. My brother, you know what? He's done the Hollywood thing. He's done the Broadway shows. He isn't all about the limelight, so he shares it. I mean, it's in his bios when he's doing his shows. He'll say that, you know, his list of accomplishments and that he's Curly's grandson, but not like me. I mean, I tell everybody, especially when I drink. Oh my God. I wish the listeners. Usually I drink when I do these. Can you imagine me high strung on alcohol right now?
Oh,
I'm a mess. I walk up to people and I say, Google me. I mean, who says Google me? That's the most retarded thing you could say to someone. I say it to everybody. Well, I stopped saying it. Hey, look me up, Google me. I can't believe I said that. But I really am I'm holding the torch. I am the ambassador to Curly, and I'm the ambassador to the Stooge fans, at least on my side. But you have the family members on Shemp's family. They're wonderful people. Mo's family, Larry's family, all of them are out there, and they all love the fans. So reach out, try to find them.
Tell me, when you got these conventions, and I've asked this to guests before about their experiences at conventions, what's the oddest thing you've ever been asked to sign?
To sign? Oh, to sign. Besides a woman's breast? I mean, I don't think that's odd at all. That's a compliment. I mean, when someone does that. There's been props. People had some props that were kind of, you know, I mean, you couldn't even really see the signature. But usually it's, you know, books that they've had, memorabilia. I mean, that's really the most. I think of a person, their stomach, I mean, their body parts, that's usually the oddest thing. The oddest experience, though, was, I think it was one of my first signings. This young lady, she must have been maybe 16, 17. She was standing, you know, the person that I had just signed had walked to the next signer, and she was standing there, but she wouldn't walk up. And she was just standing there, and she was shaking. And I'm like, hi, dear, come on over. And she was terrified. And she just kept saying, oh my God. And I'm like, what is it? What's wrong? She goes, oh, I just can't believe I'm talking to Curly's grandson. And I was just like, I'm just a person. Come here. And I gave her a hug, and she was trembling. And I was just, I don't even know how much Stooges she's even seen, but it's like, it was amazing. I mean, I was flattered, but I wanted to make her feel comfortable right away, and gave her a hug and said, you know, flat me, poke me. Come on, I'm just a person. I'm not famous. I'm just a person. So that was interesting. And I've had, you know, another blessing that I have is there's a resemblance. I have a slight resemblance. Some people say more than others. It's my grandfather. So I'll be somewhere, and just out of the blue, someone will say, I just wanted to let you know you look like Curly. And then I'll be like, just very like, oh, well, yeah, he's my grandfather. And then they're like, yeah, right. And then the people that I'm with or whatever, they're like, no, really, that's his grandfather. And then they go from having a blush, you know, color in their face to turning white, because it's just like, it's that same shock factor when I was told. So, but it's an honor. He's a very handsome man. So when people say that I resemble him, it's a compliment to me. So how can I not love it?
You know what? It's kind of like people. Elvis Presley's been gone since 1977, but people are always saying they've spotted Elvis. You could play the spotted Curly.
Curly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I try to keep. You know, it would be. Yeah. I don't want my weight to be quite. Curly wasn't that heavy. I think it was the way they shot the film back then. But I'm trying to keep myself in shape so I'm around for the listeners and for the fans for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But my face, I carry all my weight in my face, so that's probably why I look like curly, because sometimes I got 2 or 3 chins.
That's funny. That's funny stuff. So you're in Los Angeles. You got nice weather there today?
We got some rain, thank God. I mean, it's been like the Sahara Desert for the last 10 years in California. So we're finally getting rain, which is a beautiful thing. It's supposed to rain the next couple days, I believe, which is fabulous. We don't even have cricks. You call them cricks? We don't got creeks. We don't got streams. We don't got rivers. We don't got lakes. They're all dried up. Sort of like my humor's drying up. I think I've spoke too much.
We've got snow and ice here.
Well, why don't you melt some of that and send it my way?
Do you know where I'm located here in New Brunswick? Have you ever been up this way?
I've been to Canada. I know where that's at. That's on the east side. I've been to Burlington, and I've been to Toronto.
Okay.
Been to Montreal. Am I close? Right side?
Well, they're about an hour's phone call away, but.
Okay. Well.
No, I'm in a little province called New Brunswick. It's right next to Nova Scotia. I always tell people our closest celebrities are the Trailer Park Boys. Have you ever watched them?
The Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah.
No, I haven't, but I'm obviously missing something.
Well, Ivan Reitman produced their first movie. They've done 11 seasons here in Canada of their TV show, and they've done 3 movies, and Ivan Reitman produced their first. And
I'll have to look that up.
Well, it's 3 guys that live in a trailer park, and they smoke weed.
Well, that's right up my alley. That's why I'm going to have to cut this interview a little short, Greg. I got to go do a little vaping, if you know what I mean.
Vaping?
But that sounds like fun. I'm going to check that out. Is it on Netflix, or where do I see it?
Yeah, it's on Netflix, yep.
Okay. I got Netflix. I'll check that out.
They did a spin-off of it called a movie called SwearNet, and I don't know if this is something to be proud of, but I guess it holds the world record of the most F-bombs dropped in a movie.
Oh, that's fun. Hey, yeah.
They actually beat the South Park movie in the F-bombs.
Wow. That's fantastic. There's another F word. Man, we can go for days with these F words.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, hopefully I can make it up to... I do have, because I'm a salesperson, I do sometimes get the opportunity to go to Canada. So if I'm in Nova Scotia area, I'll certainly look you up.
Well, you have to come to the New Brunswick area to look me up. Nova Scotia is just our next door province.
Okay. Well, it's only a. I took the train once. I know there's trains that go from one place to the next.
Yeah.
Gorgeous up there, by the way. Gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of people. Unless Trump decides to put a wall up, then you won't be able to see our gorgeous country.
Well, no. I'll tell you what I'll be doing. I'll be singing, "Oh, Canada, our home and native land." I'll be coming to Canada, people. Curly G will be a Canadian citizen. It's going to be okay. I think we just need to give it a chance. And then give it about 2 weeks, and I'll be in Canada.
There you go.
It all starts tomorrow.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
It'll be okay. You know what? If people just keep the laughter alive, everything will be okay. If everybody just wakes up and puts a smile on their face and is good to each other, everything will work out. That's it. It's simple.
Yeah.
Take the politics out of it and just make it simple.
Yeah, there's been too much talk at politics. We're all getting tired of it.
I agree.
Yeah. You know, when this interview is ready to put out, it's going to go on the CHSR site here first, and when it does, I'll send you the link, and you can put it wherever you wish.
Okay.
And right now, my show is only on live on Sunday evenings for an hour, and I think what I'm dealing with right now is your number 76. And this Sunday I'm playing the second half of episode 54. So I've got a lot of interviews backed up on draft that haven't played out yet. So it could be 2 or 3 months before your interview plays. So I'm just asking you to be very patient with me in terms of getting this out.
Of course.
Right now.
Of course. Of course. I mean, you can share with me if you edit and after you do what you do, the magic that you do. You could share with me. I'm not like one of those people. Well, where is it? It's like putting money in the bank. It's like it's there. You're keeping it safe. So in a couple months or whenever you publish it, it's published. And then if you need pictures or whatever, if you do anything like that on the website or on the station, I'll give you whatever you need. Remember, I'm super okay with you exposing me. It's all about the exposure.
Well, I'm right now I'm trying to get my show expanded to 2 hours because it would allow me to get, especially hour-long interviews, I could get 2 of them on in a week, or the 2-hour ones I could get on in a week, and I think I could let the process go a little more rapidly than it does.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that will transpire so that I can move these interviews along and I can get them out. And but eventually, after, like, it'll be on the CHSR site for maybe about 3 months, and then it goes to my YouTube channel. Okay. And right now, as of tomorrow, I'm going to have 40 interviews up on my YouTube channel. I put one up on a week, and when yours goes up, I always like to have pictures to go along with the audio.
Sure.
And I got your permission?
Oh, absolutely. And you can take any photos off my Facebook or any photos. Before you do it, I can send you photos. Absolutely.
Actually, yeah, I would like it if you would send me photos. What I'll do is on Facebook, I'll send you my email address, sure. And you can send me some pictures.
Well, I mean, nabbing photos off Facebook, I mean, there's so many on Curly's grandson. Like I said, it's open for you, and then you may say, oh, I don't have some like with your mom. People may want to see my mom and my brother or whatever, or on the website. I think you get photos. So wherever you want to take them, and then when you're ready, just call me, and then I'll give you whatever else you need.
Yeah, and and I'll probably use like the movie poster from the 2012 movie. I'll put it on there and stuff like that as well. Those are pretty much public domain to use anyway. But no, sure. I like to have pictures go along with the audio so people can take a look at who I'm interviewing, and people.
Yeah, and all you do so you don't wait. So I don't have to wait 3 months to see if the interview went well. After you listen back to it and you edit it or whatever you do, even if you don't edit, send me a text and let me know how it went.
Oh, I think it's gone well. I only edit if something really goes wrong. I had a guest not too long ago wanted me to edit. He played a little keyboard on there, but he felt that it wasn't at his best, and he asked me to edit that out, and I edited that out. That was no problem, But normally, I find it's more authentic just to keep it going as it is, and people like that, so it works out. It works out well for everybody.
I think we were flowing very nicely.
I think so too. Actually, I
was being very well behaved. I usually drink before I do interviews.
Yeah.
We might have to do that the next round. After my movies I'm in, I'll have to redo a new interview with you.
Yeah. How does your wife put up with you?
She travels for a living. We said that would have been a great, funny thing to put in our interview. You can actually soundbite that in there. Your question and my answer was actually pretty funny. She does. She travels, 2 weeks at least out of the month, if not more. So that keeps us fresh. Or that keeps her from pushing me out the window.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Well, they don't get involved with me at all. That's how I keep. That's my relationship status.
Right.
Yeah. But Anyway, yeah. So when
All right, well, it's getting late. You need to get yourself home. You're still at the studio.
I am still at the studio, so before you go, I have got to get you to do a plug for my show.
And how do we do that?
You basically state your name and, just your bread server, Curly's grandson, or Curly G, and you say you're listening to Greg Gilbert, and my show's called Python's Paradise, and New Brunswick, Canada.
Hold on. I got to write this down. I'm not going to remember that.
I thought Curly could remember everything.
You know what? I'm hungry, Greg. I haven't eaten dinner.
Well, you know what? If your wife wasn't traveling, she'd be there cooking it for you. Now you get to fend for yourself.
Okay, so... Okay, this is Curly God Server, Curly G.
There you go.
You're listening to Greg Gilbert.
You're writing it out long form.
You know what? You better just quit it, or I'm not going to do it. I'll make you call me another day. Time to this point. I can't send you a soundbite.
Yeah, but you can't bite sound.
Okay, you said you're listening to Greg Gilbert on, what's the show called?
Python's Paradise. And I'm in New Brunswick, Canada. I hope you're scribbling that across the wall, like...
You know what? Don't flatter yourself. What did you say, New Brunswick?
New Brunswick, Canada. You should, paint that outside your house like that scene in Life of Brian.
Come back and I'll bite you to death.
You set?
Yeah. We can do it a couple times. It does come out right.
Okay. Go.
Hey, this is Curly's grandson, Brad Server, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise in good old New Brunswick, Canada.
That is right. And a special thank you to Steve Joyner, who was gracious enough to set this up. And for all you Three Stooges fans, keep the laughter going. Check out their stuff online and check out Curly's grandson and see what kind of events he's got coming up. You'll keep everybody up to date on your Facebook and other social medias of any appearances that you're going to be making. So hopefully we'll be hearing from you, and of course you'll definitely be hearing from me.
Well, I certainly hope so, Greg. It's been my pleasure.
You know what? It's been an honor. I really, truly thank you for coming on here and giving your time to this show. I thank you so very much.
Thank you. The pleasure's been mine.
Absolutely. Well, you have yourself a good night, and don't mess the house up while your wife is away on a trip.
All righty, my friend. Keep the laughter alive.
That means any of her clothes in the closet you're not allowed to use as your female alter ego.
Talking about my woman's garments there, Greg. You're going a little out of line there.
Well, you're the one that talking about dressing up in drag for an alter ego.
You know what? Vulva is vulva, okay? Don't talk about her that way. All right, my friend. To my friends in New Brunswick, to the fans around the world, to all the Three Stooges fans, we love you. I love you. And have a blessed evening. Good night.
Good night. You take it easy, Curly G.
All righty.
God bless. Yep, bye-bye.
All right.